Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe to the channel at Tay Luciano Media. That's Tay Luciano Media. Um, this video, man, I just want to talk about pretty much that real rap is back, hands down, hands down. The Clipse just dropped their album after like 15, 16 years. Let God sort them out. And then also Travis Scott and the Jackboys dropped theirs today, or I believe yesterday. I think it's just a dope time, a dope space right now for hip hop. It seems like real lyricists, real metaphors, real bars, real concept, substance is really coming back. I feel like it's a few albums that came out this year that shows that. Um, One being Jim Jones' album, On My Way to Church. Of course, the Clipse album, even the Jackboy album. I was listening to that today, you know what I mean, on the stream. And that album is all well put together bangers, you know what I mean, from top to bottom. But if you want to hear some real luxury rap, some real luxury hip hop bars, definitely go check out that new Clipse album. Let God sort them out if you already haven't. You know what I mean? They got Tyler the Creator on the album, Nas is on the album, Kendrick is on the album. You know what I mean? And for the most part, it's just them and Pharrell. It's almost like a new Nerd album times 10. You know what I mean? The production is crazy and everything. Far as the new Jackboy album, Jackboys, I think that production right there, that's a different type of album. You know what I mean? We know that the Clipse don't do what Travis Scott and the Jackboys do, you know, and vice versa. We know this. You know, with Travis Scott, it's a different vibe. It's a different tune. It's a different frequency. They will be more of the psychedelic type of rap. You know what I mean? They will be more of, you know, party vibes. You know, rave party, mosh pit. You know what I mean? Like I said, the Clipse is more luxury street bar, bar for bar, high lyricist at his best. You know what I mean? Clipse is somebody that's been, Malice and Pusha T is somebody that's been around for a while. I mean, even going all the way back where you had to go and purchase the CD. You know what I mean? When CDs was getting pressed up. You know what I mean? So they've been around for many years. They just haven't put out any music together collectively. But what Pusha has done has always remained to work, always remained to, you know, put out good music. You know what I mean? Even Almost Dry was a dope album, and a lot of people, I think, overlooked that album. And that album had Don Toliver, Ye, and Pharrell was on that album. Who else was on that album? Lil Uzi was on that album. It was a well put together album, and which that album was after Daytona. You know what I mean? Daytona was before that, but Almost Dry was one of those ones. Definitely, hands down, it was definitely one of those ones. And it's funny that he said that Kanye did half and Pharrell did half of that album. But I know Kanye did the whole Daytona album. But even that was a dope album, you know. But far as the Clipse, you know, they haven't put out any albums in about 15, 16 years. And the good thing about it is that Pusha always stayed around. Pusha always put out music. Pusha stayed relevant throughout the years to where it doesn't feel like such a big, you know, something is like missing, so to speak, because he's always been working. And that just was always good for the brand, the whole Clipse brand, because it made it more easier for Malice, and shout out to his brother Malice, to come back, enter into the game of hip hop. It made it, I think, 15, 20 times easier versus if they both would have stopped, let's just say, so to speak, it would have been probably way more harder. Pusha is somebody that's always been up on the times, far as with the rap, even with the fashion, and it just made it easier. The production is crazy. The Nas verses on there is crazy. Also, yeah, and Tyler Creator is actually on the album as well, and Stove God Cooks. It's a dope album. I think just for them to together collectively, not to put out any work, any material together, I think it almost like they didn't even miss a beat. Like Malice never missed anything. He didn't miss none. You know what I mean? But far as this Jackboy album, it's a different type of monster. You know what I'm saying? It's a different type of animal. It's a different type of, like I said, frequency. This album is definitely way more put together than the first Jackboy album. Most definitely. It's way more in tune to the type of person or the type of artist that Travis Scott is, and Don Toliver, and you know what I'm saying, and so forth and so forth. The first one I think was only like 6, 7 songs, maybe 8 songs. This one has about 13 songs. Now the songs is very short. I would say the songs are very short. They're not long, drawn out songs. But we know that, and anybody know Travis Scott knows he's like he likes to not put his features on the album. He has a couple of features that he put on the album, meaning he listed, but it's also a few features that he didn't list. You know what I mean? That he hasn't listed. So definitely go give them both albums a listen. You know what I mean? The new Jackboy album is out. It's definitely a banger. It's definitely one of the ones you could work out to. It's definitely one of the ones you feeling good, fast driving music, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like he got something on there for everybody. I feel like he got something on there for everybody, for all type of people, hands down. I definitely feel like this is gonna be one of the ones for Travis Scott. As far as the Clipse, I was really blown away. Not more so, the time. You know what I mean? It's been a long gap. We almost talking about almost 20 years, almost. A couple more years on top of this, it would have been 20 years, close to 20. You know what I mean? But it feel like they didn't miss anything. And I think that has a lot to do with Pusha. But Malice has always been a lyricist, well as Pusha, them two together. And then when you put Pharrell in there, it just add more seasoning to the gumbo. But it feels like they haven't missed a beat. It feels like Malice haven't even it feels like he never stepped away from the industry. It really feels like he always been around, period. And I know he always been around, but far as been around doing music on this level, you know what I mean? Because I think he was doing, gospel and, a couple of gospel songs. But we seen a couple of features here and there from Malice. I know he was actually on It's Almost Dry album. He definitely was on that album, and he was actually on the last song on that album, and other little features here and there. And then he worked with Kanye on his album when he did the one gospel album. So he's been definitely around in the studio and definitely, still rapping. Maybe not from a industry hip hop street level, you know what I mean? But definitely, and he just said it just felt right, you know what I mean? But far as the 2 albums to really go check out, the 2 albums to really go put a listen to, that's gonna give you 2 different type of perspectives, is definitely that new Jackboy album, and definitely the Clipse, Let God Sort Them Out. And they're actually about to go on tour, I believe August 1st, Pusha said. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Pusha did say August 1st, You know what I mean? I know they coming to my city. And it's crazy because they definitely did like a pre-order box where it's like a T-shirt. I think the vinyls might be separately, but they did like a box, like a gift box with it say God let God sort. Well, they got ones that said let God sort them out. With it was like a cartoon character and all of that. But I'm actually waiting on mine. I just checked it. You know what I mean? Mine will be arriving this coming up Thursday. And I noticed, and I purchased it like pre-order it a couple of weeks ago, probably about 2 weeks ago, I believe. And it was under pre-order, and I'm glad I caught it when I did, because I'm definitely a fan of the Clipse, and it's definitely going to be something to have. But it's like a whole box, and it's a picture of the album cover, like 2 T-shirts and some other little party stuff. You know what I mean? But they definitely did that for the the real fans. And when I even purchased my box, I noticed instantly they had sold out. You know what I mean? That they had sold out. You know what I mean? I'm definitely going to try to go to the show in September when they come to my city in Detroit. You know what I mean? And definitely try to get backstage. And, because I would love to see if I could get like a small baby interview with them. You know what I mean? That, I'm definitely looking to really make that purchase, really just to get myself out there. I think that'll be dope, just to possibly meet them on meet and greet tip and maybe get a few questions in, or seeing if I can ask them a few questions, right then and there. You know what I mean? And I'm looking just to take it to the next level, what I'm trying to do, but definitely shout out to Travis Scott. Definitely shout out to the Clipse, Malice, and Pusha T, and Pharrell. And they also, the Clipse actually has a collab coming with Carhartt. You know what I mean? Because if you notice in the interviews that they've been doing, they only been wearing like Louis Vuitton and Carhartt, but they actually doing some drops with Carhartt, a big collab or whatever. And I think that is gonna be dope for the culture. You know what I mean? Because fashion goes hand in hand with hip hop. It always has, and it always will be. But I definitely feel like real rap is back. It's definitely a few more dope albums that's coming out this year, I believe. Well, we have a couple more months left for this year. And, far as the music, let's just get back to dope music. I feel like it's slowly trying to get back like that. And it's always good when it's competitive, when it's from a rapping standpoint, when it's from a real bar for bar MC standpoint. It doesn't have to always be about sliding and gliding, you feel me? Always have to be on that. You know what I mean? It's been a lot of dope artists that has great potential to be great, but has lost their lives just from, bringing the streets into the music, or letting certain things go too far and play out. And I get it, I definitely understand it coming from where I come from. But, at the end of the day, you just gotta kind of keep it music. The streets is the streets, and the music is the music, and it's definitely getting back like that. You know what I mean? And the one thing, even with a person like Jim Jones, the most thing I always hear him always talk about is being just a competitor. And when I hear him say that, I know where he's coming from. Being a competitor in the business, being a competitor as an MC. You know what I mean? So when he says, I'm a competitor, I know what he's talking about far as just being a true MC and being, well, not an MC, because the MC is a little different. An MC would be like Nas, but being somebody that's, being somebody that's just a person that's rapping real good. And it really, you can still call him an MC, because he has really gotten to that point. You know what I mean? But I definitely get where he comes from when he says that. You know what I mean? I definitely understands why he says that. You know what I mean? But these two albums is definitely great. Y'all definitely should go check them out. They definitely dope projects. Um, and I think it's gonna be more to come. I believe that the whole Kendrick and Drake situation sparked up a good thing last year and even into this year. You know what I mean? Because it made people really step back in their bag, and it made people really go back to the drawing board and really take it all the way back hip hop style. You know, what it was in the 90s and the early 2000s and even the mid 2000s. I think just somewhere along down the line, it's got a little bit, um, it just got a little bit out of hand, and it's still there, but it's slowly but surely getting back to what it was. And I think that is dope. And I think that a lot of people, a lot of artists especially, need to see that, you know, it could be about the music, and we could still be beefing, but let's keep it on wax. Let's keep it just, let's keep it music. You know what I mean? And that's always gonna be dope. Who got the best flows? Who got the best metaphors? Who got the best punchlines? Who got the best, beat selection? Who got the best features? Who got the most surprising features? Who got the best producers? Who you know what I mean? Where was this recorded? You know what I mean? Like I just heard Pusha say we recorded in London. They said Pusha said they recorded, the Clipse recorded in London, or at the Louis Vuitton store, you know what I mean? Or should I say Paris? You know what I'm saying? Paris. But they recorded in the Louis Vuitton store, so that's already luxury rap because it's putting your spirit and your mindset in a different atmosphere. You know how that probably would feel like to be recorded in the Louis Vuitton store? That's like somebody saying, yo, we recorded in Rick James' old studio, or we recorded this song or the album where Mike, you know what I'm saying, where Michael Jackson used to record it, him and Quincy, or you know what I mean. That's gonna put you in a different type of vibe. That's gonna put you in a different type of element. And for Pusha T and Malice, you know what I mean. I know that had to be very chilling, far as just really getting in depths, you know what I mean? Because I feel like this is really luxury rap at its best, at its finest, you know what I mean? And I can't wait to Pusha drop another solo project. He's definitely somebody that's been around in the culture, and it's funny because he's he's one of the ones that's been around just pretty much about, I want to say probably everybody, you know what I mean? And I think it was even a time before, he was probably in Drake's presence, but he's somebody that never, always stayed true to himself, always, stayed in his lane. He never tried to do what none of the young boys was doing, or none of, you know what I mean? He always gave you that luxury street bar for bar, you know what I mean, type of rap. So you gotta respect that. And, cause there's a lot of people, or certain people that kind of chase that, but he's definitely one of the ones that never try to chase none of that. But definitely everybody should go take a listen to the new Jackboy album and the new Clipse album. Let God sort them out. But make sure y'all like, share, subscribe to the channel at Tay Luciano Media. Make sure y'all hit that like button. And if you know better, you'll do better. I'm out.